Illborn by Daniel T.Jackson is a self-published fantasy novel that has garnered plenty of positive reviews. I was drawn to this book by the elegant cover design while looking for a new series to add to my list. This novel is the first installment out of 4 in the Illborn saga. With themes of destiny, power, and faith, it is a complex tale where every choice matters and the line between good and evil blurs. So, does the book live up to the hype? Let's find out in my book review of Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson. Illborn follows the lives of 4 seemingly ordinary youngsters, each suddenly marked by supernatural powers. Alana is willing to survive at any cost, using her abilities to seduce men to evade those who seek to destroy her. Arion has the power of strength and valor that he uses in battle to protect his kingdom. Corin, the village outcast, has to figure out a way to survive a harsh environment using his abilities to influence the minds of creatures and men around him. Liana's journey involves learning to manage her powers to recognize the darkness in people and to heal others while hiding it in a world that sees her as a danger. These characters, who are scattered across the land, are drawn together by destiny as they face political intrigue and the looming threat of religious persecution. This book has many elements that are typical of an epic fantasy. You have action-packed battles, magical abilities, creatures of legend, morally grey characters, a mysterious god, and religious bigotry. I enjoyed the political discussions in the plot, which made the story more authentic. The story is told from the point of view of the 4 main characters, and the narration shifts back and forth between them over a span of 2 years. We also have a point of view chapter from 800 years ago that is directly connected to the lives of the 4 main leads. The novel hooked me in right from the opening chapter with gripping suspense, instantly giving the feel of a sinister and dark story. But then the pace slowed when it introduces the main characters of the story. Each of the leads, completely different in personalities, are introduced in an entirely new setting. The narration in the third-person format is sometimes frustrating when the story shifts between the main characters, usually at some significant cliffhangers. Once the story picked up and the individual plot lines started merging towards the second half of the book, each POV chapter became more appealing. It is an easy read, but with many repetitive phrases. Though each of their stories begin innocently enough in 4 different corners of the world, the main leads all have the same mysterious dream and are gifted with unnatural powers. Rest of the story deals with the 4 learning to use their newfound gifts while hiding it from the rest of the world. The events that occur in each of their lives propels the story forward, finally bringing some of them together. The main source of conflict in the story is a religious organization that worships a deity called Lord Adul. Almost 800 years after his time, people are living under an ever-present threat of religious persecution from a fanatical military group called Adul's Guards, backed by the Holy Church. I do not believe Adul's followers know the whole truth about him, though the military wing is certainly acting on some type of prophecy. Personally, I did not have any emotional, overwhelming moments, but I was content with a little amount of plot twist and the gradual build-up of tension in the story. But at the end, I realized that I still did not get any resolution to the prologue. The story takes place in a time period that seems inspired by the medieval era. Because the story is told from the point of view of 4 characters spread across multiple continents, we are given a detailed idea of the geography, social, and political conditions of this world. However, there is not much originality or creativity that stood out for me in the world building. The primary religion, its conflicts, and structure has been explored in detail, but it seems to mirror the events from our world. The power struggle of the church and its political conspiracies to gain absolute control over the land has been captured well. The magic system has not been explained fully yet. There is no clarification on the source of the supernatural powers either. But how the leads impose their will and use their powers has been described very well. For a 700-page book, there is very little material given on lore and history. Instead of adding suspense, it made me feel disappointed in the end with a lack of answers. The author has put in a lot of thought into building very distinct personalities and backstories for the four main leads. Equal attention has been given to all of the main characters and their life experiences. The story spans across a couple of years, giving the characters time to grow and develop their personalities. They are young, and the decisions they make are not really sensible or morally correct. The main characters made sense as flawed human beings. But there are chapters that simply follow the daily life of the characters that seemed dull and pointless. These could be the author's way to give the reader important insights on the character motivations behind their decisions. But I still feel that these aspects could have been shortened or made much more compact. Both the main female characters have contrasting personalities and their outlook on life is opposite to the other. They are regular women with relatable human struggles trying to lead their lives however they can. Unfortunately, I could not connect to any of the characters deeply, but I did enjoy how each of their stories concluded in this novel. I will discuss the main characters in detail in the next section. There are no supporting characters that have been fleshed out fully. There is love, but not the kind that pulls at your heartstrings. There are spoilers in this section. If you do not wish to be spoiled, please proceed to the overall conclusion and rating using the timestamps in the description. Let's talk about the main characters. Alana is my least favorite character in this book. Out of the four, she's the one who had to struggle the most and had a compelling backstory. Her theme is all about survival and her powers are that of lust. I found her chapters pretty disturbing even though I understood her initial actions to kill and manipulate. But it became clear over time that she is selfish and is willing to make unethical choices to survive no matter the consequences to other people. If the author intends her to be the villain of the series, I will commend him for his efforts on this well-written villain origin story. Corin's setting and background is very different from the other three, leading to a more interesting character development. He is the only one who has no idea about Adul and his faith is of the northern mountain gods. He is weak but acknowledges his flaws, doesn't misuse his powers to control unless it is absolutely necessary, and always gives his opponent the freedom to choose. He displays excellent leadership qualities, making him an admirable character. Arion is your typical knight in shining armor. Coming from a noble family with loving siblings, he has not had to face many hardships in his life except for a stern father. His life and training experience at the academy were fascinating to read. His prophetic dreams and powers gave him superiority on the battlefield, strengthening his fellow soldiers, making him an excellent war commander. However, his attraction to Alana after she caused his father to die was extremely annoying. Now that we know he was not affected by her powers, his attraction to her is purely physical. I also did not appreciate the way he proposed to someone just so that she doesn't marry his rival. Liana was the most boring of the lot, with hardly having any conflicts for a character growth. Her themes are of faith and devotion. She comes from a well-to-do background with a stable and happy upbringing. Her classes provided a little bit of background to the lore and history of the land. Her story got intriguing when her faith in the religious hierarchy gets shaken. Her chapters showed how true faith can prevail over greed and corrupted beliefs. The way her storyline was wrapped up in this novel was surprisingly fabulous. Illborn is a promising debut fantasy novel for adult readers, a coming-of-age story with an interesting premise. Though there is violence and other triggering aspects in the novel, it is not graphic and has been handled neatly. I am giving this book a rating of 6.5 out of 10. For me, this book is not perfect, but as a debut novel, it is definitely above average. Since there are 3 more books to go in the series, there is scope for the story to progress into what that exciting prologue promised it to be. If you are looking for a serious character-driven story with dark themes, political intrigue, in addition to elements of faith and destiny, then you must give Illborn a chance. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Hit the like button and subscribe to keep supporting this channel. See you in the next one.